it going? We're out at my parents' house this morning working on a really fun project that I've been looking forward to for months. And you guys might think that I do big projects. Check this out. They just had 12 huge containers built and installed along their driveway. In fact, this has been a huge project this spring. It's a really fun one because all of my childhood years, there was a little skinny driveway. In fact, you can see the wheel mark here. It was very skinny, went to about here. And then all the rest of this space was all ditch. So there was just a big canal full of water right here. So they had it piped and covered this spring and then lined with red point maples. I think there are 14 red point maples in total. This is the same type of maple that we used alongside our driveway, and it's gonna be gorgeous because they have beautiful red fall color. And then of course the planters, they make a huge statement, and they're kind of modeled after the box planters you see in French gardens, kind of like Versailles. They're a little bit more rustic though, which I think is perfect because it goes with their country style home. The other really fun thing are the plants that I get to use in this project. We're not going to vary the type of plants I use very much because we get to try something that's brand new. It's not even out yet. Because we work with proven winners, on occasion we get to try out new plants. And this is a new one next year called Supertunia Vista Snowdrift. And if you guys have ever grown any Supertunia in the Vista line, you will know what I'm talking about, like Supertunia Vista Bubblegum, Vista Fuchsia, Vista Silverberry. They grow huge. They are really vigorous. They have a huge amount of bloom count on them all throughout the season. And I think they're one of the best suited to go either in the landscape or in containers. In fact, I'm going to be putting some of these in the ground at my house, and we'll be able to kind of see how they do, you know, in a container versus the landscape. These, I was doing a little reading on them, have said that they can grow up to 2 feet tall and 4 feet wide. One Supertunia Vista Snowdrift. That's like a shrub, which is amazing. So I'm going to be putting 8 of these in each of these containers, which is probably a little much. I could probably get away with just doing 1 on each side. But there is an event happening in about a month at my parents' house, and we want to make sure that they're really full and they look really good for that. So we're going to use that primarily around the outside, and then in the middle we're using a purple fountain grass. And I think it's just going to be a very striking contrast. I think the white is going to look really good up against this black rail fence right here. This is the same color of stain that we use on our vegetable garden. So it looks very pretty, I think, all the way down. The fence is new. It just looks so sharp. There's a lot more room for parking and just a lot more breathing space out here. So we've already run drip to these containers, and I wanted to talk on that a little bit because we recently showed you how we hooked our drip system up to our irrigation system that's like in the ground. And I want to show you, this is hooked into a hose bib. So there's a 1/2-inch black poly tube. In fact, you can see it right here. They need to bring in a little more gravel to cover, but there's a tube that runs the entire distance, the entire run. And then they tapped in with little couplers right here, and there's a 1/4-inch solid black tube that runs up the side and then comes into the container right here. Let me move my plants. And then we've got 5 drippers, and Aaron and I worked on this little network of drippers this morning. What we're planning on doing is having one 1 gallon per hour emitter in between each set of petunias, kind of like this. So there'll be 2 petunias, 2, 2, 2, and then this one will point right to the root ball of the grass. And we do have little stakes that will help, once I get everything planted, kind of just tack everything into place. So let's run to the very far end because that's where it attaches to the hose, and I'll show you how that looks. So we're at the opposite end. This is the last container, and then in the corner is where they're attached to water. In fact, if you look over the fence right here, you can see the ditch. It's still open on this end. We used to swim in that when we were little kids, but now all the water goes through a great big pipe right underneath this whole lane. So this hose bib right here is where all the water comes from for both the maples and the containers. There's a splitter right here, which you can either use that or you can hook your timer right into your hose. You don't even have to use a timer if you don't want to. You can come out every day and turn the hose on and turn it off, but the timer makes it super nice to where you don't have to do that. This will make everything automatic. And then there's a couple of parts here that hook onto your timer, and then you can put your drip tubing right up into those parts. One of these runs to the red point maples and one runs to the containers. And the amount of time that you run your containers is kind of subjective to the time of year it is, what the weather's like, if it's real windy or not. Right now, they could probably run these every other day or every 2 days to keep them happy because it's still pretty cool. but when it gets really hot, they'll be running them every day. So we'll probably start by running them for 30 minutes just to kind of gauge how much water comes out and how saturated the soil is, and then we'll go from there. So now let's start planting. You guys, I think that these are going to be absolutely gorgeous, and you can already see them starting to take shape. And purple fountain grass gets huge, so it'll get these huge graceful plumes on the top, and it will fill in beautifully. And then with how this Supertunia Vista Snowdrift is supposed to grow, I think we're going to be in for like a super dramatic show, maybe even all the way to the ground. The kitty loves it. And I think with the general design, like if you look down the way and you see the line of trees and the line of containers, I think going with just one arrangement, the same thing in every container, will be a very striking effect, and it won't, jar your eyes too much. And also just using 2 different plants instead of using, a whole bunch of different colors in this one container. And the other Supertunia Vistas that are available are all in the pink family, which is great for me because I love pink. I love to use those. In fact, I'm using a whole bunch in my garden this year, but I was so excited to learn that there was a new one and that it was white, because I do think I could have a garden completely full of green, like shades of green foliage with white blooms, and I would be happy with that. So when I planted these, I did add in some of this continuous release plant food like I do in all my containers. I think I added about between 8 and 10 tablespoons, and just mixed it into about the top couple inches of soil. With plants like this that are huge performers, they are really hungry plants. They need a lot of food to perform the best. So I always start with that. And then I'm actually going to give my parents a tub of this. This is what I use in my containers on a weekly basis at home. So they'll be feeding these plants every single week with a water soluble, and that will keep them very happy and full of bloom. So anyway, that is it for this video. I was just so excited to show you this brand new plant. Again, it's not out this year. This is going to be brand new next year. So I'm really excited to show you guys progress updates throughout this season to see what it looks like, because maybe this is something you'll want to add into your garden next year. So anyway, thank you guys so much for watching today, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.